The afternoon sun was setting over a quiet suburban street when the unthinkable happened. Lieutenant Marcus Green, a decorated Black Army officer, had just returned home from duty when a police cruiser pulled him over a block away from his house. According to the officer, the stop was for a broken taillight. But Marcus knew his car was in perfect condition. Remaining calm, he stepped out of the vehicle in full uniform, his medals gleaming proudly on his chest. But instead of respect, he was met with hostility. The officer, later identified as Officer Derek Mills, barked orders aggressively, his hand already resting on his weapon. Marcus tried to explain that he was a serving Army lieutenant, but before he could finish his sentence, a gunshot rang out, striking him in the shoulder. Neighbors who witnessed the incident screamed, some recording the shocking scene on their phones. Marcus collapsed, clutching his bleeding shoulder, as the officer showed no remorse. Within minutes, sirens filled the air, and paramedics rushed him to the hospital. The footage spread across social media like wildfire, sparking outrage nationwide. Within hours, the Pentagon itself responded, furious that one of their decorated officers had been targeted so blatantly. Defense officials held an emergency press briefing, condemning the act as not only an attack on an individual but a direct insult to the U.S. military. The Secretary of Defense demanded a full investigation, calling the shooting an unacceptable disgrace to the uniform and to the country. Pressure mounted on the local police department, and Officer Mills was placed on unpaid leave. But the Pentagon wasn't satisfied. They released Marcus's military record publicly, highlighting his years of honorable service, leadership in overseas missions, and the medals he had earned protecting the very freedoms the officer had trampled. Side by side with those records, they displayed the officer's disciplinary history, revealing past complaints of racial profiling and excessive force that had been swept under the rug. The contrast was staggering. Public opinion shifted entirely in Marcus's favor, and the outrage reached Washington, where lawmakers demanded new accountability laws for officers. Meanwhile, Officer Mills found his name disgraced across the nation. Within days, his career was effectively destroyed, his badge permanently revoked, and his reputation in ruins. Lieutenant Marcus, though recovering from his injuries, stood before cameras weeks later, saluting the country he had nearly died serving, reminding America that justice must never depend on the color of one's skin. His words, strong and unshaken, echoed across the nation, ensuring the story of that day would never be forgotten.